Okay, so John, our generation, is crazy about Japa. The Japa syndrome is very, very popular right now. I want to know what your position is. Are you pro or against Japa?
I think I'm somewhere in between. I think anybody that wants to go, so long they have something valid and reasonable to do, they should go. And if there are people that want to stay behind, well, they should also stay behind, yeah.
But personally, do you want to Japa?
No.
Why?
I don't. I think I'll be more fulfilled here in Nigeria. I think I would be more valuable here in Nigeria. So I understand the place of extending your value, but then I think a good place to start would be here in Nigeria.
Well, I would say I'm for it, but I would also tilt to some sides. That means if you're doing it legally and you are fully prepared for the things to come, that means if you're not passing through the desert, if you're not going illegally on a ship, and you know what you're going to do there, is it to study, is it to work? Of course, this country is not a place to be in.
All right. So have you thought about the cost of Japa? Not necessarily financially, but the material cost of Japa. So the thing is, when you Japa, you are going to an entirely different culture, right? You have to learn their way of life. Most times you have to learn their language. If you go to a non-English speaking country. So is it worth it?
Well, for everything that you're doing, even if you're in this country, there's a risk to it. So even if you're going abroad too, there's a risk to it. That's why I said you need to be prepared. You need to count your costs. The Bible also said so that before you build a house, you need to count the cost. So you need to count your costs. You need to use your tongue to count your teeth. Am I ready? And you also need to know that there are risks, because you could actually prepare and you meet some things you did not think you would meet. But at the end of the day, leaving the country when you are prepared is better than staying here doing nothing.
Well, I'm both in support and against it.
Okay, explain further.
Well, I feel the Japa syndrome thing is simply based on the best people we have in our country. They're going out there to develop another country while leaving our country in complete ruin.
Okay, so that overlooks the push factors. Why are people leaving Nigeria for those quote unquote saner societies?
Well, of course, I know everyone wants a greener pasture. I quite understand, but I think if we, of course, we have a number of youth going out of this country, but I think if we can begin to look into what the country will get in return for leaving this country, I think that would be much better.
Yes, if I could understand you very well, what you mean by Japa is the rate at which people are moving from Nigeria to any foreign countries, let me put it that way, being it Europe, America, or any other continent apart from Africa. In fact, even including Nigeria, some of them prefer to even go to South Africa or Benin Republic, in as much as they don't remain within the jurisdiction of Nigeria again. That's what we define as Japa. To me, I think it is high time we should try to understand our heritage and what we stand for. The problem we are facing here is not a Nigeria problem, it's a global problem. I have series of videos from some of my social media group that people are complaining bitterly on the hiking price of foods, even in United States of America. And because of the exchange rate, many people believe that if they are there and they can earn $400, and then quickly they will convert that $400 to Nigeria and they will think that yes, they are millionaire. Yes, they are right. Why do we need to dollarize our economy? When they are there, they will not be spending naira. They will spend that dollar. And whatever you are paying for, you are paying in dollar. And then that organization there, that society there in US or in UK, it's not like in Nigeria that you can cheat the system. You understand, many people are using electricity bill today without paying for it. But over there, it is not somebody that will be running after you. There's no any NEPA that will be running after you. It's the system. Automatically, when your bill or whatever expire, you see that the light is just off automatically. And there's so many things they are facing over there that when they came back here, they will not let you know. But all in the name that we want to travel out, we want to travel out. Yes, it is a dream of everybody. Traveling is part of education, and I'm one of them. What I mean is that I'm an academia. I belong to the Union of Intellectuals lecturers. Yes, I believe strongly that traveling is part of education, but it shouldn't be compulsory. That many people today, even so funny among lecturers, that they don't get any job over there, they don't get anything they affiliated to go and do, all in the name that I want to go with my family, and they will go there doing a lot of remote job. In fact, job that is not even meant for a secondary school holder. That is what they will be putting themselves up to. As far as I'm concerned, Nigeria is a place to be. The country is a place to be. Yes, we know that we are facing the problem of insecurity, and then to any living things, the people will definitely change. There will be a locomotion movement. In fact, if you see an ant and you have a fire somewhere, you will see that the ant will move away from those fires. It's because that environment is not more habitable for it to stay. So also human being. But the issue now is this. What we call insecurity is there in Chad, is there in Benin Republic, is even there in the South Africa, one of the most well-doing country in Africa. You understand? In fact, recently I'm watching international news, and I saw some boys going into a particular apartment in South Africa, and they started shooting sporadically. We saw shootings in US, we saw it in UK, among secondary school holders. Then what are we saying? What are we saying?
Why do you think Nigeria has what it takes for you to make it?
I do not think Nigeria necessarily has everything it takes, and I do not think anywhere necessarily has everything it takes for anybody to make it. You just have to navigate your way in every way possible to actualize your dream. I don't think you can get it all everywhere. Wherever you go to, of course, you have more facilities, better facilities in some places than the others. But then the idea of some places having it all, I don't think that's realistic.
There's literally little to nothing for Nigerians to be proud of as citizens. Even statistically speaking, it's very difficult for you to make it in Nigeria, even if you want to go through the route of entrepreneurship, or you want to, seek for employment in the corporate world, or whatever it is.
Everything we do in life is about risk. If you are traveling abroad, an organized society, a place where the facilities are, you are still taking a risk. It's not, you cannot be so sure that when you get to the UK or when you get to America, everything will work right. You are taking a risk.
But the people who are jackpotting would argue with you that their own risk is more of a calculated risk, right? But you have a higher percentage of making it out there than staying here in Nigeria. That's the argument.
I think let's go with the theory of the fact that the more the risk, maybe the better the success, or the better the
higher the risk, the higher the reward.
Exactly. So if there are more risk in Nigeria, maybe it's an indication that the result could be, you can get better, like the result you get to might be higher or something like that.
What are the reasons why you want to Japa?
First off, the educational system here is shitty, and I'll be spending about 10 years, God forbid, studying a 6-year course. Then no jobs. Even after you finish going through the school, there's no job. I don't think you understand what I'm saying. The cost of things are going, and they're not seeing anything to do about it. So it's better you just go and put your mind at rest.
All right. If everybody jackpot, well, would there still be Nigeria? Or do you think Nigeria is so bad that you don't care whether Nigeria survives or not?
I think some people made Nigeria bad, so left the Nigeria for them. So if the masses are not comfortable with Japa, and we leave the politicians who have made the system rotten, it's worth it. I don't think it is about where you are or where you belong to. It's about you being happy and you making it.
So to hell with Nigeria?
To hell if Nigeria does not want to favor me.
Well, I'm not too sure about what I'm about to say, but I think Singapore actually did something similar to that. But I think Singaporean government was more deliberate, invested in the youth, and sent them out of the country to go look at how things is being done, how things are being done outside the country, and then they came back to the country to develop their country. But as against what is obtainable in our own country, our government is completely irresponsible, and I quite understand that a number of people really want the best first for themselves. Say we have a responsible government who is sane enough to take responsibility for its citizen, of course, people will be willing to go develop themselves and then come back to their country. But a situation where The government cares about no one, so everyone seems to be interested in themselves and their families.
Interesting. So, but personally though, where do you stand on this? Would you want to Japa or,
Well, to be very honest, there is no place like home. How there isn't really as nice, as comfortable as many of us think it is. Of course, you can be sure there is dividend for virtually all of your investments. If you work, you get your money, you get paid. That's quite interesting, and that's what everyone really wants. I think Nigerians are not really demanding for too much. But well, my own position is, of course, I also want to leave this country too. I'll be coming back to this country to live with my own people, to contribute the little I can. But I think it's very necessary for me to be a part of a system that works. And then when I get the money, makes life, when life becomes more comfortable, then I can come back into this country.
Okay, sir, let's talk about the push factors. Why are people leaving? I think that's a very valid question.
Good. Good.
Why are people leaving?
It's because of economy. It's because of economy, you see, and that is where we can plead to our government. We can plead to our government to make the Nigerian society in such a way that it will attract investors. It's not to be taking our own crude products, either being it lithium, either being it uranium from Niger, either being it petroleum here, and be refining over there and then buying it back. Whatever they want to do, let them come and situate the company here and then refine it. You will see when the Dangote refinery will start now, it will definitely have a very significant effect by reducing the unemployment rate in Nigeria.
I think with the same determination that people have when they want to travel abroad, if you have that same determination, it's possible for you to thrive in Nigeria. I think this is just about narrative. It's about your perception, is about how we see life. I think if people look at the number of hours, number of days, number of months people spend applying for visas, doing this and doing that to travel out, if you can spend that time to working on yourself, positioning yourself, it's possible for you to get something good out of Nigeria. So I think it's more about what can you do. How can you position yourself? Because there's wealth in this country if we are being sincere with ourselves. So I think it's about positioning yourself for that wealth and knowing what to do to just position yourself, yeah.
I don't know whether you've heard this before. People believe that for you to make it to Nigeria, you need to know somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody. The word connection in the Nigerian context means nepotism, right? You need connection to make it to Nigeria. If that is true, then would you not agree that it makes sense for you to just leave this country instead of you trying to fight a war against the so-called corruption industrial complex in Nigeria?
Well, speaking of connection, I think you need connection everywhere, because even if you are skillful and you leave Nigeria for the abroad, you still need to connect to the right people to showcase what you have. So at the end of the day, we cannot overrule the place of networking. However, I understand the nepotism and all of that. And the basis of nepotism for real is just people getting what they cannot do, people getting what they do not deserve. Of course, is ruining the country. But the truth is, we cannot remove the place of networking, no matter how, whether you are skillful or not skillful. You can be skillful and not, if you are not well connected, if you are not connected to the right people, you will just be wasting, your skills will be wasting away. So I think these things with, look at it for instance, when people want to Japa, they watch videos, they listen to people who have Japa, they do a lot of things just to make sure that they are going the correct way. I think if people can invest so much in that, to those that want to stay now, they can invest as much as those that are trying to Japa, the way they invest in the process. If those that are staying also invest in what it makes to connect themselves to wealth, everybody will make it.
Culturally speaking though, everybody has a cultural identity. And when you Japa, when you naturalize into another culture, what does that make of your own culture? Are you a Yoruba girl?
Yeah, partly Yoruba.
Okay, so what does that make of your cultural ancestry when you naturalize into another country because you want to escape poverty in this country? So my point is, if everybody Japas and everybody assimilates into a different culture, then the Yoruba culture, the Igbo culture, the Hausa culture, as we know it, won't survive.
Well, I think it is about individualism. That means if you are talking about the culture is actually who you are. We are in Nigeria, and there are people who do not know anything about their culture, and they are in Nigeria. There are British schools in Nigeria that do not teach Yoruba, that do not teach traditional languages. So if you are going there, it is left to you to know if you're going to continue with your culture. Abroad, I have friends abroad, and they have Association of Nigerian Students just trying to make sure that Nigerian culture thrives abroad. So if we continue with things like that, that means if you are particular about culture, but if you are not someone that is particular about culture, even if you are here, in fact, you get more frustrated.
All right, last question. What would it take for you to change your mind about coming back to Nigeria? Let's say you Japa. What would it take for you to decide, you know what, I'm not coming back to this country?
Well, worst case scenario. Maybe if I found, of course, I believe purpose is here in Nigeria for me, but maybe when I start earning as much as Aligo Dangote, then I might actually decide to. But even earning like that, for me, Nigeria is still my home. I'll still come down to Nigeria. For me, I will definitely still come down to Nigeria. But it all depends on how the system here works. If things over the years get better in my country, of course, I would really want to come down to.
Good. All right. So one final question: what would it take for you to Japa? Worst case scenario: what would it take for you to Japa?
It will mean that I want to get what I need to become what I want to become. If what I need to become what I want to become cannot be found in Nigeria, it only makes sense for me to go to the place where I can get it and come back and do that.
So what would have to change for you to remain in Nigeria?
What would have to change?
Best case scenario.
Okay, for me or in general? For me, at least, assure me of a job when I'm done with this stress I want to go through. Then the educational systems should be funded. If the educational systems can be funded and I am assured of a well-paying job, I'll stay here because there's no need for me to go.
Define well-paying job.
A well-paying job is a job that I can earn and feed my family and do something substantial with myself. When I say substantial, I'm not saying just any old thing.
Put a figure.
It depends. Like, if I want to build a hospital in future, the cost, I don't know how much the cost of building a hospital is, but something that I can use towards building a hospital will be a well-paying job for me.
Okay, one last question. What would have to change for you to change your position on Japa? What's the worst case scenario that would have to happen for you to consider leaving this country?
Yeah. By my own stand now, I believe that Japa should not be by force and fire, that it is compulsory or it must be a target aim that I must pursue and achieve. When everybody can put it on trial, if it comes, accept it. If it doesn't, find something to be doing in your country and then find a way of contributing to the economy, the social infrastructure of this country, and go. But you said that what is the last thing that I will not do to make is just level of insecurity, which I believe that since this dispensation of government, we see a very geometrical reduction in the rate at which they are committing those atrocities, because in Borno, in some of these northern states, they engage much in farming. And they engage much in farming, and we can see we all know, without any element of iota of doubt, the significance of agriculture in any economy. Because even if my salary is increased as a lecturer, it's not that money that I will hit. I will use that money to exchange for farm products. But right now, Bukanam and banditry are killing many farmers in Benue. They are killing them in Borno. That reduce the activities of farmer on the farm, and it has a kind of spillover effect on the farm product, and definitely it will result into a food inflation, whereby the large volume of money will be pursuing few available commodities. But if in case we discover that even this current government was unable to solve the problem of insecurity, whereby they are now coming towards scattering the whole country, definitely, personally, I will also put it into consideration. If not because of anything, because of my life and property and my family.